For someone just getting started with digital marketing in general for promoting your own products or other people's products as an affiliate, or someone getting started with affiliate marketing for that matter in particular, I'd like to know your opinion, right? Do you think it is better to start with paid ads, right, or driving organic traffic? I'm going to share what I believe, right, what my opinion is, but before you hear what I have to say, please let me know in the comments below what your opinion is on that, right? I'm saying that only because I don't want whatever I say to possibly influence whatever your opinion might be. But I'd like to know what your opinion is. Let me know in the comments below whether it's better for an individual to get started with paid traffic versus organic traffic, all right? Now, if you're joining me for the first time, my name is Christian. Welcome to my channel. I am Christian M, a place where I decided to document my attempted journey to financial independence, right? With that being, in simple terms, just getting to a point where we're generating enough in real and true passive income to cover our living expenses. So if that kind of stuff is of interest to you, please do me a favor, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below, and while you're at it, don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you're notified every single time I release a new video. Now, one of the vehicles that I have decided, my vehicle of choice to help me get to financial independence and all that type of stuff, right? One of the biggest things I've decided to use as a major vehicle to get there is selling digital products, right? Using digital marketing to sell predominantly digital products, right? And whether that's promoting these products as products that you've created yourself, right, or other people's products that you're promoting as an affiliate, right? This could also include physical products, but I'm leaning more towards digital products, and I would highly encourage you to do the same, just for the mere fact that the margins are a lot higher. It's a lot easier to break a profit, especially if you are going the paid ads route, okay? So if that is something that would be of interest to you, I would highly encourage you to check out the first link in the description below this video. It will show you how to get started promoting digital products the right way with the right foundation, giving you the best chance for long-term success. Okay, so if you want to get going with that, first link in the description below this video. Now, when it comes to getting started, right, like, people who are beginners, there's going to be there's typically the two routes you can go, right? Whether it's when it comes to promoting products, right, you can try to promote products with organic traffic, right, and or you can go the route of paying for ads, right? Now, just to make sure we're all on the same page, I don't want to make any assumptions. When I say organic traffic, right, I'm talking about going about promoting products without spending money, right, without investing any money into paying for advertising, right? Because one of the pros of doing that, right, spending money, is that you can get your eyes on you can get a lot of eyeballs on your products, right, a lot more quickly, as opposed to going the organic route whereby you don't spend money, but it takes your time, right? You have to take time in creating content, right, through the various different avenues, right, predominantly social media platforms, right? So, like I mentioned, just to make sure we're on the same page, when we are talking about organic traffic, we're just talking about generating traffic without having to spend any money, right? And then when I talk about paid ads, we're talking about spending money, right, investing money in ads, right? Either way, it's going to cost you, right? If you're not spending your money, you're going to be spending your time, all right? So either way, either way you look at it, there's something you got to sacrifice, right? So if you're one of those that once has the money, right, because you want to save yourself some time, then paid ads is going to be the route to go. And if you're one of those that doesn't have the money to spend on paid ads, then organic traffic is going to be your best bet. Now, if you don't have the money and you don't have the time, it's going to be a little rough there. You're going to be in a pickle. So one of the things, if you don't have money, I would highly encourage you to make the time. If this stuff is important enough to you, you will make the time, right? A lot of times we often make the excuse of not doing certain things because we say we don't have, or we tell ourselves that we don't have time for them and all that type of stuff. Whereas the reality is there are just other things in your life that you prioritize over this, right? Or whatever else it is that you're trying to do. Okay. If your Netflix show is more important to you, right? As opposed to spending a little time, to, try to propel your business in one way or the other, then that's the choice you've made, right? That's where you put your priority there. It's not necessarily that you don't, and don't get me wrong, I understand that there are people who really, really, really do not have time. Like they're extremely busy. They got families, kids. I get all that. All right. All I'm simply getting at is that whatever it is that you're doing or talking about, if it is that important to you, you will make time for it. Okay. So you've got a choice to make. Now, when it comes to getting started with this stuff, promoting products, promoting digital products online and all that, my opinion, right? This is just my opinion. It's not this. What I'm telling you here is not gospel, right? Generally speaking, I encourage people when getting started to go the organic route. Okay. When it comes to I encourage the organic route, just for the simple fact that it gives you a good way to learn. It gives you a really good way to familiarize yourself with how what works when it comes to like marketing, right? The only thing that is going to cost you, the only thing that you're going to lose right there is your time, right? But again, it's time well spent because you're learning, right? You're learning how to get stuff going. The only reason I would not encourage somebody who's brand new getting started to go the paid route, especially if they don't have the money for it, is because when it comes to paid ads, you really, really need to know what you're doing, okay? And that's not to say beginners can't go with paid ads, right? You absolutely can, but if you're going to go that route, I 100% encourage you to get some kind of course, right? Get a course that's going to teach you how to do everything step by step, and you want to be learning from somebody that is actually doing that stuff currently like I'm talking about in real time, right? Not somebody that used to run paid ads maybe 5 years ago and they're just making money now just from selling their courses, right? And the reason I say that is because with the internet, things change so rapidly, right? So quickly, right? Like the ad platforms change. What used to work 5 years ago, there's a very high probability it might not be working in today's day and age, right? So that's why I said whoever you choose to learn from when it comes to paid advertising, make sure it's somebody that is actively doing it right now. That's actually in the trenches running paid ads right now. Okay. So that is, if you do decide to go the paid ad route, that is what I would absolutely recommend, right? Do not try to do it by yourself, right? Like trial and error and all that type of stuff, because you're gonna end up losing. There's a much higher probability that you're going to lose money and not be profitable, as opposed to when you try to, decide to follow the guidance of someone that already knows what they're doing. And the reason I say that is because even if you do take the guidance of someone that actually knows what they're doing, even with that, right, there is, there still isn't that high of a probability that you're going to actually be profitable yourself, right? So it's just one of those things, right? Like if you have the money and you're willing to, I don't want to say lose the money. You're willing to, it's just one of those things. You have to be okay with the fact that that money that you spend on advertising might not give you something in return, right? Right. That's just the nature of paid ads, which brings me to the reason why I say getting started with organic traffic is a good way, especially with the organic with the different ad platforms that are working right now. The social media platforms, right? The likes of Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, right? Lemonade, LinkedIn. There's more of them. Twitter, right? Or X as it's called now, right? And that's just to name a few, right? Pinterest, that's another one I'm missing, right? Getting started, if you go the organic route, right, you're going to familiarize yourselves with all these different platforms. You're going to see how the traffic on all these different platforms responds to all the different content that you're putting out there, okay? And that's the place to go trial and error without losing your shirt, right? The only thing you're going to lose there mostly is mostly your time. And I wouldn't even call it lost time. It's going to be time well spent learning how these platforms work, okay? And then, okay, once you've done that, if you've seen the kind of things that work, once you have what works, if you want to, maybe pour a little gasoline, a little fuel on the fire of the stuff that's working, that's where the paid ads may come into play, right? And again, that's not necessarily always a guarantee either, just because the way people respond to paid ads can sometimes be quite different from the way they would respond to organic. But at least when you're starting out the organic route, you have a good perception of what works, what doesn't work, right? And then from there, you can take that experience now, right? Take that experience into going with paid ads. And even with that experience, I would still highly encourage you to get a paid course by somebody that knows what they're doing, or you can go try to figure it out on your own through YouTube University, right? The University of YouTube, right? A lot of people post free content on there, but I will tell you this, right? Most of the people that know what they're doing when it comes to paid ads, the information that they post on YouTube is probably, yes, it's good, right? But the real, quote unquote, magic sauce or whatever, right? Like their best kept secrets and all that type of stuff. 9 times out of 10, these people have that information tucked away in courses that people actually have to pay for, okay? Whether it's in courses or one-on-one coaching, mastermind, whatever the case may be, okay? Which is simply why which is a simple reason why I'm saying when you go the paid ad route, you want to go with you want to buy a course, right? You want to buy a course first, okay? Now, even with the organic route, right? I would still encourage you to get a course, right? And learn from somebody that actually already knows what they're doing. They will save you a lot of heartache, a lot of mistakes that they've made that you are most likely to make, right? They can save you from that. But at least with, when it comes to organic traffic, if you decide to go on your own, right, that's fine. It's going to be more forgiving that way, right? Because you're not losing money, right? It's just predominantly time that you're losing. So, to answer the question directly, the reason I kind of hesitate just simply because there's a lot of the answer to that question for me, in my opinion, is gonna teeter around the whole idea of how, it depends, right? Which is better for beginners to go with. It really depends. And I say this because I've seen programs, and I've been in courses where you see absolute beginners coming through and following the courses that they're learning from, or that we're all learning from, right? Have massive success, right? But the thing about that is those people tend to be in the minority, right? Those people tend to be, the numbers are big. The numbers, don't get me wrong, the numbers are really big of the number of people that have success as complete beginners using paid ads, right? When they have the funds for it, there are a lot of people that that do well with it and succeed, but the majority, right, the overwhelming majority, I would veer to say, do not necessarily get those results, right? And that goes with, even if you're going the organic route, when it comes to courses and things in general, I could say the same even for people who choose to go the organic route that may purchase a course, right? The overwhelming majority of people that succeed is still going to be sorry, the number of people that succeed are still going to be in the minority, right? With any, I would say with any given course, whether they're teaching paid ads or they're teaching organic traffic, with any course that you get, right, the percentage of people that are successful with that course is typically, getting results from what the course is teaching. The percentage of people that actually succeed is typically going to be smaller than the percentage of people who don't succeed. Okay, the overwhelming majority of people don't get results, and that's not because the stuff in the courses does not work. That's just because of people, human beings. That's just the way we are, right? A lot of times, right? A lot of times people are not necessarily, I would say in most cases, if people are not getting the results that they're looking for, it's because they're not putting in the work, right? They're not learning, or they're not doing the things, they're not doing a lot of the things that are actually being taught in those courses, okay? And don't get me wrong, I will be the first to admit that yes, there are people that follow the courses follow the courses and they try to get results and they still don't, right? But if you want to give yourself the best chance of success, you're better off going in the footsteps of someone that has already successfully done what you are trying to do and learning from them. There's going to be a lot of mistakes that you would otherwise make that you that you just basically save yourself from making now, because you have someone guiding you and showing you the ropes and telling you where not to step, showing you where all the landmines are to avoid, okay? So generally speaking, you're going to be better off that way. But at the end of the day, no course or no training that you take is going to work unless you actually do the work, right? So, again, just getting started with all this, when it comes to like social media traffic and all that type of stuff, for the overwhelming majority of people, right, when it comes to organic versus paid, I would say organic is the way to go. In my opinion, organic is, trying to generate organic traffic starting out is going to be the better route to go for most people, right? I think more people can stomach losing. I think more people can stomach not having had crazy results from the time that they've invested, as opposed to not having crazy results after having spent a lot of money. All right, that's just the way it is in general. So that's why I would highly encourage you to go first the organic route, right? And learn the ropes there, learn how the platforms work and all that type of stuff, right? And then once you've gotten some experience there, if you want to move a little more quickly, right, faster, then I would suggest then at that point that you go the paid route. And if you do go the paid route, whichever route you go, whether it's paid or organic, I would always encourage. I'm one of those. I would always encourage you to get a course by someone that knows what they're doing, right? But if you're not gonna get a course, absolutely go the organic route to start. Okay, absolutely. And you can do it, right? You can study different people's platforms and try to essentially learn from what they're doing, mimic, and watch YouTube's videos on YouTube for free and take it from there, right? You absolutely can do all this stuff without having to pay for a course. Okay, now in the event that you do decide that you want to pay for a course, as you know, I have one that I would recommend. It's going to be the first link in the description below this video, right? The method, the method that you're going to be going with primarily is going to be organic, right? Or organic traffic is going to be the way that you get started and learn. And then, of course, if you want to learn paid ads and stuff, there's always going to be training for that available as well, all right? So. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents there. I would really, really like to know in the comments, though, by the way, what your thoughts are, right? If you think for beginners, right, what the better route to go is. If you think organic traffic is the way to go for someone who's beginning, has no experience whatsoever, whether they're promoting their own products as the owners or creators of the products, or promoting other people's products as affiliates, right? Let me know if you think organic traffic is the way to go for beginners, or if right from the start, beginners should be going with paid traffic. Okay, I would highly appreciate it if you let me know. Other than that, if you have any other comments, questions, or suggestions, put them in the comment section below. I will be sure to answer. And don't forget about getting access to that training. First link in the description below this video if you want to get ahead. And I will catch you in my next video. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to watch. Ciao.